Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, Rabbi.
Sure. You can hear me? Can you see the screen with the notes?
I can hear you and I can
Yes.
see the notes.
Perfect. Baruch Hashem. I'm clear. You can hear me nice and loud?
Yes, very good.
Okay, we figured out. We got the new computer and I was able to put it together. So Baruch Hashem will
Nice.
be able to broadcasting from the shul.
Uh,
So that's nice. And hopefully if we get going on a regular basis, we're gonna next week full-time be doing that. Baruch Hashem, I see we're sharing. I only need one computer. That's amazing. Baruch Hashem. Okay, we continue now with the fifth principle of the Baal Shemtov. And it all continues on with the same understanding. If we're starting with Enod Milvado, that everything exists by Hashem, and if even nothing existed, Hashem would still exist. And we're saying that even the Yetzer Hara comes from Hashem, and there is no evil that is directly from Hashem. It's the evil that we create, but that also is good. So now we have another principle that just flows from that principle, and this will be connected quite a bit to that which we have been doing in the Parsha and Parshas Noach, as you shall see. So here is the fifth principle. The fifth principle is Ha'adam tzarech listabek ba'asher hu omer. A person has to cling to the words that he speaks. Ki b'chol osios, because in each and every letter, yesh neshama velokus, there is a soul and divinity. Ukisha adam mistabek imam, and when a person clings to the words, nidvak be'elokus, he is clinging to divinity itself. So where is this? This is not the Baal Shemtov. Remember, these are the principles that were derived. But the original source for this, there's very few things the Baal Shemtov wrote himself. Here, you got it right there, Steve. You got it right there. That's the whole idea. So we could see it nice and big. You don't have to be on. So there are a few letters that the Baal Shemtov himself penned. And one of them was to his brother, Rav Gershon of Kittov. And this was on Rosh Hashanah in the year 1746. Now, we don't want to get into the details of this because this is way beyond what we can understand. But he did all kinds of Kabbalistic things. And he was able to ascend to very high levels. He enters the chamber of Mashiach, where the Mashiach is learning Torah with all the great rabbis throughout history. And he asked them, this is one of the most famous letters of the Baal Shem Tov. And he asks, when will the master come? Yes, I'm recording it. And he answered, by this you shall know, when your teachings will become public and revealed in the world. He's talking to the Baal Shem Tov. And your well springs burst forth to the farthest extremes. That which I have taught you, what Mashiach has taught him, and you have comprehended, and they shall also be able to perform unifications and elevations as you, then all of the shells will cease to exist, and there shall be a time of goodwill and salvation. What the Mashiach said to him is, there's much that I will teach you, and when your teaching spread to the world, will burst forth to the furthest extremes of the world, and they'll be able, like you, to perform ways of unifying Hashem with the Shekhinah and elevate the entire world, and all the klipos, all the shells that are separating us from Hashem are gone. Then we will have Mashiach. Well, that itself is a most incredible thing. But, and then let's just continue and let's look at the bolt. And he says like this, every word of your lips intend to unite. Whenever you speak, we're trying to connect Hashem, Kutchabricha, with the Shekhinah. For in every letter, this is the source. This is what Mashiach was telling him. There are words, souls, and divinity. They ascend and connect and unify with each other. And afterwards, the letters connect and unify to become a world, and then unify in true unification in divinity. So, and then he adds, include your soul with them in each and every state. and all the worlds unify as one in a sense to produce an infinitely great joy and pleasure, as you can understand from the joy of groom and bride in miniature and physicality, how much more so an exalted level is this. Surely God will be your aid, and whatever you turn, you will succeed and reach greater awarenesses. Give to the wise, you'll become even wiser. What Mashiach was telling the Baal Shemtov, and what the Baal Shemtov is relating to his brother-in-law, one of the things is the tremendous power of speech. Every letter that comes out of you makes words, and they connect to higher realities and bring tremendous unification into the world. And this is the original letter from which this principle derives from. Now, this needs a lot of explanation, so let's just do a little bit over here, starting with source number 4. When Hashem created the first human being, it says, "Vayitzar Hashem Elokim es ha'adam." God fashioned man, offer min adama, earth, dust from the earth. Vayipach be'apov nishmas chayim, and he blew into him a spirit of man. Vayihi ha'adam lenefesh chay, and man became a living being. And what does it mean, man became a living being? So Onkelos says he was capable in source 5 to speak. Okay, so the human being is made out of the dust of the earth, but now God blew, so to speak, as the Tanya says, "Man de nafach midilei nafach," the one who blew from himself. Hashem blew, as it were, a part of the infinite reality of Hashem into man, and that manifests itself in so many ways. But the bottom line, it manifests as a speaking spirit in man, the ability to speak. That means that whenever you speak, each and every one of us, you blow out that which was blown into you from Hashem. Now, again, this only applies to Jews nowadays, okay? And as it says in Shir Hashirim, for example, "Nafshi yotza b'dabro," I was faint because of what he said. The Gemara says, what's that talking about? Every time Hashem said one of the 10 commandments, our soul went out, and Hashem had to revive us. There is tremendous power. We've said many times that God created the world with 10 utterances, whatever that means, but God's power of speech creates worlds. And that man is in the image of God, and God gave man the ability to create worlds with his speech on the level that man can do. Man can affect the universe in so many ways, and it started all with speech. God, that's revealing the will of Hashem. And Hashem says there's power in man's speech, thought, and actions. But we're focused on speech. And just like God can create the world with speech, so too can man create worlds with speech. And that's what's happening. We may not understand how it happens, but the Hebrew letters of the alphabet, which we've said are the periodic table of creation. God will look inside, we'll see this all. But God was able to take whatever this means. He took the letters from the Torah and created reality. Those very letters that we use can create realities as well. So we've got, and that's what the Baal Shemtov is saying. And therefore, guess what? We got to be really careful about what comes out of our mouth. And let's take a look at a few early sources from the Hasidic literature. One is from Rav Yaakov Katina. Rav Yaakov Katina, so to speak, wrote a last will and testament of good behavior to his family, and it became so popular, it's been released out to the world. And it's got, I think, 47, I think, points. And on the essay on Dibur, as you see in source 9, let's see what he says. And from here comes a very famous concept that people say over, and this is the earliest source that I have for this. He says, can you see the little, yeah, you can even see the little, I'm sure I can make it bigger when I have more time to play with this to make the cursor. I'm sure it's a setting, but I'll have to get to it. Right now it's small, but you see it out in the bright white over here. Hadibur yeh yakar lachem. Your speech should be very precious to you. Ma'od, very much. The Isa b'medrash, there's a midrash that says, and that's good luck trying to find this midrash, but he quotes it. Shenigzer al kol adam kama yidaber kol yemei chayav. It's decreed on a person how much speech he says his entire life. You have X amount of words. When you use them up, that's it. You're finished. Chutz, except milimud Torah, whatever you do for learning Torah. I imagine davening as well. That's what God says you have to do. That's unlimited. The less you talk, yarich yamim beyoser, you'll live longer. And also, v'diber sheyotze mipiv, and a word that comes out of your mouth, efshar lahachsiro, you can't bring it back. And if you say something bad, it's going to create a very bad reality. Therefore, you have to weigh every word with a holy weighing, as if you're spending money on every word. You're right. Before you speak, that no one should be shamed or embarrassed through it. And you shouldn't say words of inconsequence. Why? Because this is a powerful tool that you have. And why would you waste that powerful tool? Say words that are necessary, that are helpful, that are comforting. Certainly, there's nothing wrong with that. But don't waste it on just small talk that just to fill the time in between. Similarly, the Bnei Yisachar in his Sefer Derech Pikudecha, where he analyzes mitzvahs, all mitzvahs, in terms of thought, speech, and action. So he deals, this is from a footnote from another Sefer. He says like this, in the 31st mitzvah, lo saseh is lo tirtzach, you should not commit murder. So a lot of us think for sure we haven't committed murder in our lives. Well, remember, every mitzvah can be kept by thought, speech, and action. So he says like this, Hagam she'adam yodei, even the person knows batzmo himself, shelo rotzach nefesh me'olam, he never killed anyone. Im kol zeh, but if you think about it, kasher yisponein ba'azrayu, so when you look at the Azrayu is like the derivatives of this warning. So you're not going to be clean from some of the branches that come out of this. The Kibalti Michvod Admor Harav HaKodesh Rav Mendel Merimanov. He received from his Rebbe, Rav Mendel Rimanov. Degam B'Dover Ha'adam, even in man's speech. Ha'adam Dvarim B'Telim, when he just says words of wasted words. Not insults, not lashon hara. Who b'chalav Yisrael it's a derivative of thou shalt not kill. Why? Ki kol dibur, every aspect of speech, hu shir kol mashlema, it's one great system that's set up. Every word is a whole system because it's coming out from you. And that, in other words, that's like you're destroying something. A word is coming out, it should be useful. And he nullifies it. He empties out that stature to a place of emptiness and waste. He has destroyed that force that comes out of the soul. What he's saying is that when you are, remember, God blew life into man. So what happens when you talk? You're blowing life back out. You got to figure, until God blew that holy soul, you really didn't have real life. He blew the holy soul in us. That's real life, not animal life, divine life. And he blew that in. And the idea is we express it by breathing, obviously, but now by speaking, we're taking that divine life and using it. Every letter is a life-giving force. From your life to extend it outwards. And now you take a life-giving force and waste it on foolish words. You're killing that word that's coming from your life force. And We see a little bit unstable, so I have to pause. And that's what he brings from that same Shir Hashirim. Again, they brings from others that you have only so many words in your life. You see what's happening? So if you speak too much when it's not for a mitzvah, he's speaking anthropomorphically. He's saying you are limiting the life, not of the enemies of the Jews, but of the Jews. That's what we never want to say about the Jews. That's what it says. My soul went out when he spoke. So the Medrash say when God spoke, our soul went out. But now he's saying more. When we speak, our soul goes out. And you better make sure it goes out in a healthy way. So now if you just say a bunch of words and your soul going out, but you didn't say anything positively, so that's certainly an offshoot of thou shalt not kill. And all the more so, what if you say forbidden words? How terrible that is. So now you understand the deeper understanding of how terrible Lashon Hara is, because it's terrible just to say words for no purpose. That already you're killing the life force. You're killing yourself, that part of you that extends into the realm of speech. It could have been such a productive word, and it became a wasteful word. And it's part of your life. Your life is many dimensional. We think the life, how long my body exists on planet Earth. That's one element of life. But how about how long my speech exists on planet Earth? Who knows? Who knows? It's not for me to say. We can guess, but I don't have you find a lot of people who, let's say they go as they have terminal illnesses, into a coma or whatever, and they can be in a coma for months. Or people can have certain mental illnesses where they really don't end up speaking. They're awake, they're conscious, but they don't talk. Who knows if those people, I'm not saying it's not for me to judge, I don't want to say, but who's to say that God in some way knew that everybody had a certain amount of words. You also have a certain amount of time you're going to live on this planet. Those are two separate things. How long your body will be on this planet, how many words you'll say on this planet. Who's to say that sometimes people, they've used up their words, but their body's supposed to still be on the planet. Hashem measures how long your body's supposed to be on planet Earth and how many words you say. But what if you've used up the words too quickly? Then what's left? It's left your body's left to stay on planet Earth. But those, I don't know if that is a fact. I'm just theorizing. I don't want to chassom say that people are in this state that they use up their words too much. Maybe who knows? But we're in a world that people do talk a lot. But that could be. But anyway, certainly if you're using it for bad things, that's the worst thing in the world. Yes? Comment, question? What? Yeah, Lashon Kodesh. But the fact of the matter is, even if it's in English can be made up of Lashon. It's the sounds.
You're not creating anything.
Well, I don't know about that. Who said? What if you say, ball? Beis Lamed. Speech comes, the sound that you make, who says B-A-L-L, maybe it's Beis Lamed. How do you say, when you talk, whatever you say, there's a Hebrew letter that creates a reality. So you mean to say a person who doesn't know Lashon Kodesh can't create worlds? What if you're so kind to somebody and you're giving words of comfort? Don't you think those words are beautiful words? They don't do anything just because you don't know Hebrew. Everything in English, there's certain halachas. If a person only had an English name, you still would write in a marriage contract, you'd write it in Hebrew. You know, the chassan whose name is Bob, Beis, Aleph, Beis, Bob. But it's all speech comes from the Hebrew language, right? So therefore, what we're saying is we're taking that power, the power of the voice letters that are formulated through thoughts and speech. So it doesn't really matter what the language is. So that you're using that power to speak as a divine power, but it's to express your divinity, that's only given to Jews. And as we've said, okay, we said these points over here. Tell a story from a Rabbi Nochem Rabinovich. I don't know if he's still alive, but he lived a very long time. He retired in Eretz Yisrael. When he was much younger, he was a teacher in South Carolina in the old days, where he was doing a lot of kiruv. And somebody met him and said, "So what are you doing? You used to be in yeshiva for years. What are you doing?" "Well, I'm running a day school for children, and they're saying, listen, you're a scholar. You could be giving high-level Gemara classes. What are you doing, teaching little kids?" So he said a word like this, and this is a word I've heard many different times in different scenarios. He says, yes. He said, "You're wondering, why am I teaching them Aleph Beis? I'll tell you one thing for sure, that when I'm teaching a Talmud class and I have all kinds of ideas of how to interpret the Talmud, I could be right, I could be wrong. But one thing's for sure, when you teach a kid an Aleph, it's for sure an Aleph. You teach a kid a Beis, it's for sure a Beis. And that's the real true Torah that exists. There's no question about that Torah. And if that's the true Torah that exists, with true Torah, you can create revolutions. And to see the power of creativity, we don't have to go any further than the Mishkan, where the Gemara Bracha says that Yodei Haya B'Tzalel Etzaref Osio Shenivram Shemayim V'Aretz. B'Tzalel knew how to join the letters which heaven and earth were created. And they bring a source for that, and a pasuk explains all that with all the sources there. And again, what is that? The Mishkan was, Hashem wanted a dira b'tachtonim. Point 40, Hashem wanted a place to reside down in this world. And that place was the Mishkan. So now Hashem gave the insight to Betzal to know how to take the letters and create a reality where Hashem's presence could rest in this world. So that's clearly how is he able to do this. It was all, besides with the material, the physical materials there, but for it to house Hashem's presence, you need spirituality. And those are the letters. That's the spiritual Mishkan, the spiritual ability for Hashem to rest his presence in this world. And the Messenger Maggid says, it's right there in the first pasuk in the Torah. It says, Bereshis bara Elokim es hashamayim v'ha'aretz. Bereshis bara Elokim. For the purpose of Reshis, Hashem created. Why do you have to say es? Just say hashamayim v'ha'aretz. What's the es? Es is spelled what? Aleph Tov. Aleph Tov means the letters of the Aleph Beis, from Aleph through Tov. Hashem created with Aleph through Tov, Hashemayim v'ha'aretz. So the critical point in what the Baal Shem is telling us, again, if there's nothing in this world that isn't Hashem, ain't od milvado. See how far-reaching it is now. It's not just when I do an action, Hashem is putting energy into my action. It's not just when I'm doing an Aveira, Hashem's giving the energy to the Aveira. And certainly when I'm doing a mitzvah, Hashem's giving the energy to do a mitzvah. But when I talk, it's the same divine power that's in there. And when I speak, I have to make sure that I cling to those words. That who you are is what you're saying. You're expressing, you are part of those words. You're thinking about what you're saying. And your saying should be somehow a connection of cleaving to Hashem. You have to, you're saying words when you're davening, whatever you're saying, those words should be you. And the more you put into that, because that's your neshama is going into that. It's not just say a bunch of words. A lot of times people just talk. And it's not you. You're just saying words. But who are you really? Who are you really? The deepest part of yourself. When you say words, it should be, there's a concept of Talmud, piv v'libo shavim. Your mouth and your heart are equal. In other words, what's coming out of your mouth is coming out of your heart. So when you daven and just blab a bunch of words, there's no heart in it. You're not in those words. And those words are not that powerful as if you'd be in those words. Now, all of this, the Baal HaTanya discusses in the very beginning of the Shara Yichud V'Emunah, which we learned many moons ago. Some of you will remember, that was our Friday morning learning. So it's not bad to go over that first section. Over here, 18, 19 in Hebrew, and then the English is all the way below there. Okay, so let's start that. We're not going to finish it today. We only got another 5 minutes, but it's a very chashuv piece. If we go to the website, I'm sure, Steve, you've put it all up there. But in the Shar HaYichud V'Hamuna. So let's read a little bit, and we might be spending a day or two on this, but I think it's very valuable to understand. But this, we've lost the connection. We've lost the connection here. Okay, so I'm not exactly sure what's happening here, but you can't see it on the screen, but the people here can still see it on their screen. So I just got to move it over because it's, hang on, a few little changes happened over here. Maybe I can just shift this out and make it a little smaller so people can see it. I'm sorry. That's it. So there's some technical things going on. So you're just going to have to listen, man. It's going to take me way too long to reconnect it to the TV. It's
now.
things we got.
No.
You see it, but the people in the room don't see it. So that, but they're here. Anyway, so let's see what it says in the Shar Yichud V'Emunah. It says, the pasuk says, V'yadata hayom v'hashevos elevecha. You should know today and draw it into your heart. Ki Hashem hu Elokim. Because Hashem, He is God. B'shamayim imal, the heavens above, al oretz mitachas, and into the earth below, there is no other. So v'tzarech lov, and you have to understand, V'chisal al daitcha sheyesh Elokim. Nishra b'mayim mitachas ha'aretz tzarech lahazer kol kach v'hashevos elevecha. Would a person think that there's another God somewhere at the depths of the bottom of the sea, that we have to be warned? Do you have to know that Hashem's the only God? You got to say, I'm the only God from the heavens above to the earth below. As if to say there's another God in the earth below that isn't God. Hinei ksiv, it says, L'olam Hashem dvorcha nitza. So what that we have to say, take it into your heart? So he explains like this. There's a pasuk it says, L'olam Hashem dvorcha nitzav b'shamayim. Forever, Hashem, your words stand in the heavens. What does that mean, your words stand in the heavens? So the Baal Shemtov explains, Ki dvorcha she'amarta, when you said the words Hashem, Yehi rakia, let there be a firmament between the water. He says, Tevos va'osiel elu, those letters and those words of let there be a firmament, hey nitzavas va'amdas le'olam betoch rakiyas hashamayim. Those letters stand forever amidst the firmament in the heavens. Umelubashas besol kol rakiyam le'olam. They are enclosed in all of the firmaments forever, lahachayosim, to give them life. As the pasuk says, Udvar Elokeinu yakum li'olam. The words of Hashem stand forever. Udvar of Chaim v'kayam lad, and His words stand forever. Meaning to say, Ki'ilu haya osios mistalkas karega. If those letters of let there be a firmament for 1 minute would vanish, then chas v'shalom v'chozeres u'makarna, go back to their place where they came from, Hashem's breath. There'd be nothing to heaven at all. It'd be gone. It was like it didn't exist. Just like it was before Hashem said, let there be a firmament. Before He said, let there be a firmament, there was nothing. Mamish. In all creatures, in the higher or the lower words, even the lowest level of physicality way down here, even the inanimate world that doesn't seem to move, even a rock. If God's energy of the words of saying, let there be a rock, if they go away even for a moment, if the letters of the 10 utterances during the 6 days of creation would go away for a minute, it would return to absolute nothingness like it was before the 6 days of creation. And he brings on from the Arizal, even the domim, even the inanimate, like rocks and sand and water, they have an aspect of nefesh v'chayas ruchanis. They have a spiritual energy that is enclosed within the letters of the 10 mamaras that Hashem created them. And they keep working. And that's what it says. You have to bring this into your heart. that Hashem is God in the heavens above and the earth below. Every place there's Hashem's constant energy of speech that's keeping these things going. And man who's in the image of Hashem has that as well. Okay, we're going to have to stop it here, and we'll continue this piece from the Baal Tanya. Hopefully we'll have the screen back, and that will all be working for us.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Goyach, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Your end